Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Moose Minute Project here on a Thursday morning. Some heavy clouds to the north here of Boscobel along the river. Some clearer skies here to the south. So, going to be a warm one again, 84 degrees, very muggy. Last night, the clouds, I put them all on my story last night here on Facebook, and it was pretty wild for a while in low south by Gotham. The skies were definitely at that verge of wouldn't be surprised if you'd have saw a funnel cloud come out of one of them. But all good, but plenty of moisture. Gonna try to figure out how to get all my grass cut before it becomes way too long. But we'll do it a chunk at a time and we'll get there. So welcome to the Moose Minute today, and titled, How Good Are You at Sales? Everybody always used to say, Chris, I don't know how you do it. I couldn't do it. Sales? Nah, it's not for me. But yet, if you look at it, we're all in sales, whether it's an actual job or in our lives. You're always trying to sell something. And maybe it's not the right way to put it, but you're trying to sell yourself to your friends, to your family, to prove that you are worth investing into. You're trying to always make that picture of what you have to offer, and what you have to offer is worth the investment. And that is sales. That is sales in a big picture. You have to make the product you are involved in, whether you are a business owner, whether you are a manager, whether you are a salesperson, service tech, service writers, parts department, you're always in sales. The big difference is that in some of that, the customer is coming to you willing already to want to buy. You don't really have to sell them. However, you do have to sell them on the other products that you have to offer. If you own a restaurant, you're hoping your waitress reminds people, hey, first thing they always start you with is, what can I get you to drink? Then you're on to, hey, do you want any appetizers or do you want anything with that? And then when you order your meal with a steak or a burger, whatever, what are the toppings that you can get with that? And then all of that becomes. And then if somebody finishes their beverage, such as a beer or whatever drink, hey, can I get you another one? The part that a lot of people miss out on is the comeback around. When I was looking at having our roof done, it amazed me how few people actually got a hold of me for a quote or a bid or anything else. And it amazes me still that, I look back when I lived in Spring Green, and we were calling around for our fireplace at that time to have it. It was a wood fireplace. I wanted to have it inspected, called the company. No, we're too busy. Can't take anybody. It wasn't a year later, and I'm at the same residency, and I get a thing from them saying, hey, are you looking for inspections or whatever it may be? I just thought it was odd that all of a sudden you go from not needing work to, oh boy, now what? If so, how are you at selling or at convincing people what you bring to the table is worth it? Or when you finally convince, are you showing them that it was a bad investment? That you are bringing negative things to the table, that you are talking behind their backs, talking about it, lying, whatever it may be. Comes down to the thing of over-promising and under-deliver. It was one of our big statements that I learned a long time when I first started in sales, is you don't ever over-promise and then under-deliver. And a lot of salespeople get into that habit of over-promising to get the deal done, to get people to sign on the dotted line. Oh yeah, we can do that. And then when it comes to it, it can't be done in the time frame that everybody has been told. So that'll be the last time you see the person there, or somebody gets involved and then you have to discount a lot of things and you're doing all of that work for nothing. So set your priorities, be honest with people of your time frame. If you say you're going to do something on Friday, make sure it's done on Friday. But if you can get it done by, see, I always try to set my days up to where I know, like on an install, if you drop it off, sir, on Tuesday, we are going to do everything we can to have it done 2 days from now, or 3. I try to set it up for 3. If we can have it 3 days, great. You know, by the time we tear it apart and do anything like that. And I'm hoping to have it done within 2 days. Or if I know it's a simple job, we need it for a day and a half, and it's only a day's work. So people are not upset or depressed about you, and then upset and not wanting to come back to ever deal with you again. Or blast on the internet, which we all know 90% of all pissed off customers go to the internet. 10% of the happy customers go to the internet. It is a unfortunate statistic to prove that people do not brag you up enough online, nor give you good Google reviews online when they are extremely satisfied. However, when they are pissed off, they will reach out to anything and every way, communication-wise, to make sure everybody knows about it. So what are you doing to track and to follow along with those? What systems do you have in place? Or do you just do a job and when the person says, hey, so thank you so much, I'll make sure I tell people about you. And you just go, oh, great, that'll be awesome. Or do you hand them a card with your, hey, could you please go to this page, or could you go to my Facebook page and leave the review there, or go to Google and review there? Because the more of those you get, when people punch in, let's say you're a restaurant, when they type in your type of restaurant or your, it will automatically put your company up higher than most because of your Google reviews. And especially if they're really good Google reviews, it'll move it up higher on the ladder. It's the algorithms that are going to make it work that way. So in sales, getting told no is a very common thing. Very common. You know, I look at it's different when I buy a truck or a vehicle, because the day I start looking, most likely is the day I'm going to buy. Where sometimes my wife, for example, loved her last Blazer, loved it. Great vehicle, by the way, too, Chevy Blazer. You can get them at Jones Chevrolet. Great vehicle. But now with grandkids and everything else, and then grandparents and hauling other people around, it just was getting to be where it was too small. So we started looking at Traverses probably almost 2 years ago. And we just bought one. But the salesperson that we deal with, Ty at Jones's, and they are all good there, and Jones Chevrolet will get the plug here due to the fact that they sponsor my mom's Alzheimer's. This is the longest day shirt, by the way, that I got for starting the new event this year in November 8th at the Phoenix Center. But Ty stayed very patient through the process and kept reminding, hey, still looking, because right now they were hard to get. And they still, from what it sounds, are hard to get. So, and interest rates are coming down the way it sounds. But it goes along the line of if you're selling property, selling houses, whatever it may be, you have to stay consistent. You have to stay. Do you have a wish list of people that come through the door and they are looking for, I had a 5-subject notebook the whole time that I was managing the power sports. Used ATVs, used four-wheelers, used side-by-sides, used snowmobiles, used motorcycles, whatever, used boats. So I had that book. So, and there were some people that were in there over a year, possibly 2, that I finally got the right unit that they were looking for and was able to call them, and I sold some of them. Yes, they were in that book for that long, and I was finally able to cross them off the list. So there's some great computer tools out there for people in our industry now, or in that industry, that you can type in all their information and do a search on it once you get something new, or used that you think. But I had my notebook. I preferred paper, because then I could write in there that I contacted them, I called them on this unit, called them on that unit, and I could show how I was doing that and how I was doing that to the owners or whoever it may be. And I had my sales team doing it as well when I was managing. So what are you doing to make your sales portion better? If you're an owner of a restaurant, what are you doing? Are you training your staff, training those around to say, hey, when you're out and about, do you give your staff, per se, business cards that say, bring this in, for 10% off, for a free appetizer, where they are out promoting your business when they're not at work? I look at Thunderfest coming to town now, and with people out and about, are your workers talking about your business when they're not at work? Drove my wife nuts. I always have business cards. I have business cards all the time, because you never know when that conversation is going to happen. And I'm sorry about my words today. I've got a little bit of brain fog going on today and a few other things, but I'll get through it. But are you working a cash register, say at Quick Trip or Walmart, or are you just working a job? Or are you making sure people found everything they wanted? Or, are you seeing people that are shopping? And, one thing that people always talk about it, like Walmart or Home Depot, is they can never find what they're looking for. Sometimes they wander around. Is your staff coming up to ask, hey, are you finding everything okay? Or are they just watching people wander up and down aisles like they're lost and waiting for somebody to say, hey, can you help me? As a staff of Walmart, can you just walk up to, just go by somebody as you're walking? Are you finding everything okay? And then, because there are people that struggle with the size of Walmart. My mom, for example, with Alzheimer's, or the beginning stages, it was very hard. She would wander around and then forget sometimes why she was there, because she was wandering around for so long looking for something that she knew she needed. So, is your staff at restaurants trained, or are they walking like your bartender? If your wait staff is smoked and they're busy, and your bartender may have a chance to look over and see a table with empty glasses or looking for refills, do they go over and say, hey, can I get you another beverage while you're waitress? Are they doing that to make sure that people are not just sitting there and then they're upset that they don't have refills or anything like that? Do you own a car dealership or a power sports dealership where your sales staff is stuck in their head that they're going to work with that customer no matter what, how bad they get along? Are you a manager or an owner walking around saying, hey, is there anything I can help you with? Or is Joe helping you okay? Or is Paul doing you know what I mean? So you need to be able to have those interactions. And then you also need to have the interaction of where a salesperson can honestly just say, I don't get along with this person. There were people all the time, and that's how I ended up with some of the very hard ones, because I could deal with them. And then I not dealt with some, like really extreme hard ones that I knew I would butt heads with because I was the same wire. Just didn't work. So you'd hand them off to, I had to hand them off to the owner because it was just, I'm the manager, so next step is. Where your sales staff needs to be able to do that. They need to have where, yes, I get that they all get paid on commission, but you also need to figure out a way to make sure you're paying for teamwork. You're paying for people not to walk people out the door because they are so stuck on trying to get a sales deal done. And then that they don't give away the farm and overpromise and underdeliver. Get the underdeliver, overpromise. Yes, you wanna just make sure that you over-deliver. Over-delivering is the key to get people back. And that's whether you're a teller at a bank or anything else. Are you friendly? Are you asking to make sure is everything taken care of? Or, is there anything else we can help you with? Do you get your checks through us? Do you do that or whatever? I just ordered checks again the other day. I think I'm one of the few that order checks as much as I do because, quite honestly, I'm probably one of the few that uses checks still. But the teller said, nah, I ordered quite a few checks. So then I felt better, at least. But that's where we're at. So as far as sales go, don't take it as a job that I don't think I could do. You do sales every day in some form. But if you are a manager or owner of a gas station, to a restaurant, to a retail shop, people that work there have to understand that you have to sell more than just what's in the cart. When a person comes in at a service shop and says, I have a problem with my radiator pump or my air conditioning pump or, whatever. Or if they're in for an oil change, hey, is your car running good or is there anything else that we can help you? You have to add items. That's adding to the bottom line. The main service will always be there, but it's not going to keep all the lights on all the time. You have to be able to add to that. So that's where we're at. Kind of like our blinker kits. Our blinker kits are awesome here at Connect Creation, but we also offer lighted license plate frames, reverse light kits, you name it, we can do it. And send me a message that way too. But you always have to talk about the other things that your company offers. So with that said, have a great day. I've got things planned tomorrow. I think I'm going to talk about a couple of people that I know and that are inspiring me. And I'll talk about that tomorrow. But that's all I've got for you today. Just remember, you're always working the sales. And especially if you work at a filling station, anything like that, where you can add on to the tab per se, to where you're adding on, it makes you feel better. I'm wired for numbers. That's what I'm wired for. If I did 1,200 kits last year and it doesn't affect my pay, I want to do 1,400 this year. That's just how I've been wired, always have been. My pay has never been incentivized by that. My numbers are incentivized because that's who I want to be. I always want to be better. So, hope you all have a great day. Enjoy the weather today. Sun is out for a bit. I think it's supposed to get rainy again tonight, but hopefully I can get part of the yard mowed today as well. And as always, take time to bless somebody's day today and live today, for tomorrow is not promised. Oh, and I about forgot. I was going to end on this note today. I about forgot this book the other day. So here is my mind twister mental test. A man came home from the psychiatrist with great news for his wife. Honey, the doctor no longer has to treat me. He doesn't think I have an inferiority complex. He thinks I'm just inferior. Yep, that's the kind of things we're going to discuss in this book. Did you know it is impossible to lick your elbow? A shrimp's heart is in its head, and people say bless you when you sneeze because when you sneeze, your heart stops for a millisecond. There you go. Now you know. Talk to you later. And again, as always, take time to bless somebody's day.